Today, I'm building the ultimate crypto portfolio for the upcoming 2024 and 2025 crypto bull run. With the crypto market stagnant in majority of this year, most altcoin sectors have erased all their profits since 2023. This presents a perfect opportunity for us to restructure our portfolio, as it's easy to find out which altcoins to place bets on for the next year. We just need to find the altcoin sectors that have strength in the choppy markets and kept their profits. Then we replace the other weak narratives with these strong ones. So in this video, I will revisit my last crypto portfolio from the beginning of 2024. I will show you guys which altcoins I have removed and highlight the 5 altcoin sectors that I am concentrating my investments on for the next year. Welcome back to the Virtualbacon channel. My name is Dennis. I'm a crypto angel investor for the past 6 years, and I have invested in over 100 crypto startups. On this channel, I share views on market trends and investing strategy to build wealth in crypto. Before we get into the new portfolio, let's do a quick recap of our last portfolio video from the beginning of the year. Here's a quick snapshot of all of the coins mentioned. Now, there were 33 coins in the portfolio at the beginning of the year, whereas this portfolio video will have a lot less coins, only coming in at 24. There are also some major changes that I have made in this new portfolio, as many of the sectors that weren't really performing that well were removed. Here are the main changes from the last portfolio video. First of all, I have removed most layer 1 and layer 2 infrastructure, as most of these have not gained much retail adoption, and instead all of the adoption actually went to the other part, which is Solana. So in the new portfolio, I no longer have Arbitrum, Optimism, Polygon, or Injective, as these were all replaced with a larger concentration on Solana. That's not to say all of these infrastructure projects were all bad picks. We did have some winning trades as well, including Celestia and ICP. We were one of the earliest to get into these two projects as layer 1 infra at the beginning of the year. But even these projects, I think, have kind of run their course, and they are now not really as competitive as the next generation of projects coming up, or some of the older projects that have much better tokenomics, which we will get into in today's video. In terms of DeFi and cross-chain infrastructure, these were also removed, and projects like Chainlink and Axelar and Layer 0 are no longer in the portfolio. Don't get me wrong, these are some of the most useful projects in the DeFi space, but their coins simply aren't gaining much traction this year. Instead of having a wide basket of DeFi projects in the last portfolio, in this portfolio, I only have one subsector of DeFi in terms of altcoins, because this subsector actually has outperformed in terms of price movements this year. We will reveal what this sector is later on in the video, so make sure to pay attention, but we have already dropped this quite a few times as teasers on the channel. Next up, for some of the more narratives like SocialFi or GambleFi, I have completely removed these as well. They simply aren't gaining any traction at all, and any sort of little attention that they had has faded to non-existence by this point. The last major change is around AI coins. Specifically, I am replacing my main exposure in the DePIN sector for coins like Render and Akash with AI computing coins that are running decentralized inference, decentralized model training, and decentralized AI agents networks. We will get into some specific projects later on. Okay, so with that out of the way, what are the 5 crypto narratives that I am focusing on for 2025? I have recently made 2 videos on this topic specifically. First of all, it's the favorite crypto narratives video that I have made back in May, and in this video, I have highlighted 6 crypto narratives. They are crypto gaming, AI and DePIN, retail adoption layer 1s, meme coins, modular blockchains, and RWAs. Since then, I have continued to follow how the market is evolving, and in my latest live stream that I did 3 weeks ago, I only picked 4 market sectors that still were holding up while the rest of the market are crashing. These 4 narratives are meme coins, AI coins, gaming altcoins, and RWA coins. And on top of these 4, I also want to add one more sector that I'll cover today, which is the good old layer 1 blockchains narrative. But there's a big caveat there, because most layer 1s out there are very inflated now and not getting much users. Instead, we want to focus on layer 1 blockchains that have true retail adoption potential or have shown strong tokenomics with strong price movements in the first half of this year. Before we get into all of that, let's start from the basics and start from the top down and tell you guys what the biggest percentages of holdings in my portfolio are. And obviously, we have to start with Bitcoin and Ethereum. Compared to our last portfolio, which I have put 25% in Bitcoin and 25% in Ethereum, I have actually reduced the exposure on both of them and instead put another 20% into Solana. Not having exposure to Solana was one of my biggest regrets at the first half of this cycle. I had a high expectation for Ethereum to consume all of the on-chain trading activity, but Solana came out of nowhere and continued to take away that market share. And that's why I am admitting when I am wrong, and now I have an equal split between Ethereum and Solana. Having Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana constantly in the portfolio at such a large percentage does two main benefits. Number one, it helps curb my FOMO in big price rallies because these three coins are always going to rally in a market-wide pump. Even if we have a subsector doing really amazingly well, those are still going to be involving one of these three coins. And having these three coins also helps me reduce panic in the price dumps. These coins are so large and so widely established now that they're not going to have your minus 30% drawdowns in a single week type of scenario happen. And because of that, having this large exposure can also dampen the portfolio drawdowns. Now, I have made full investment guides on all three of these major coins on the channel already. TLDR, my expectation is for Bitcoin to reach around $200,000 or doing another 3x from current prices by the end of this bull run. You should go ahead and check out these two videos on my complete investing plan on the case of Bitcoin. For the case of Ethereum, I expect it to reach somewhere between $12,000 to $15,000 or reaching about a 5x gain from current price. And equally so for Solana, I have a price prediction of around $800 from current price or also doing a 5x. I know I have not been the earliest Solana bull, but after looking at all the metrics and all of the improvements that Solana has made over the past 2 years in terms of decentralization, tokenomics, and the actual retail adoption from all the meme coin traders, it's safe to say that now every portfolio needs to have both Ethereum and Solana. It's also important to not overcompensate and go all in on Solana and not have any exposure to Ethereum because at the current stage, Ethereum is at an all-time low in terms of the exposure people have on it and the attention people have on it. But it still has a lot going for it that Solana doesn't, especially with the ETF adoption that Solana still might not have even way later in 2025. And just recently, the SEC has actually denied some of the Solana ETF applications already. So we don't want to overcompensate, and instead, we should have exposure to both Ethereum and Solana so we can have an average expected return of around 4 to 5x by the end of this bull run. As long as having both of these in the portfolio can accomplish that, our goals are met. Now, speaking of Solana and Ethereum, let's go into the layer 1 sector, which is the first sector of this portfolio. Now, many different layer 1s claim to be the next Solana or the Solana killer, but only a few stand any chance at all. I think it all boils down to two main factors. You either have to have strong user adoption with a unique angle that only applies to your blockchain for onboarding new users that other blockchains simply do not have. Or you need to have a very strong price growth supported by a very solid and fair tokenomics and token distribution. This usually comes from years of accumulation and the token actually trading for multiple years with investors all having unlocked their tokens already. The first layer 1 altcoin that I have in this portfolio is Tron coin, the open network that's backing the Telegram messaging app. Tron is the network that truly fits the adoption narrative. No other blockchain have the level of adoption that is achieved from Telegram. Telegram has more than 800 million active users, and you gotta keep in mind Telegram is the most widely used messaging app in all of crypto. We have seen all of these clicker bots, trading bots, gaming bots, that have been widely used by all crypto users as long as they are on Telegram. And it really seems like even the crypto gaming narrative is now shifting to have an exposure on Tron, with most AAA level games even developing their own mini games on top of Tron in order to attract users from the Tron blockchain. So when talking about layer 1 blockchains that have unique user adoption, Tron is the #1 best example. Now, I do have to give a fair warning here for the price entry of Tron. As it stands today, the prices are looking a little bit wobbly, especially looking at the price chart over the past year. After this major rally from $2 all the way up to $7, touching $8, price is now forming quite obviously a head and shoulders pattern here with the neckline sitting right at $5. And as we speak, with the market in a slow bleed again, price has actually broken below that $5 key support level. So I wouldn't be surprised if Tron continues to trend down a bit and reach even below $4 and potentially reaching the low $3 ranges. That's why I wouldn't rush into recommend buying Tron right now, and instead I would wait just a little bit for this correction to finish. You also got to look at these fully diluted valuations at 25 billion. These are already getting into quite high levels. I think something in the $10 to $15 billion FDV mark will be a lot more fair for the current adoption levels of Tron. The second major layer 1 blockchain that we just have to talk about, but I don't have in my portfolio, is Base. The Base layer 2 network is the only layer 2 in the entire Ethereum ecosystem that's onboarding new users instead of siphoning users away from the Ethereum layer 1. With the introduction of Coinbase's smart wallet, any user can now easily sign up from their Coinbase exchange account to the Coinbase and the Base layer 2 blockchain without creating their own crypto wallet. This means they can access any app and trade any token directly using their Coinbase account, even when trading on-chain. This is a big breakthrough that have brought a lot of new users to the Base chain, and this is why most Ethereum-based tokens today have to trade on the Base network to take advantage of this Coinbase audience. Now, the sad thing is that Base, the network, will not have a token for itself, but you can speculate on the growth of this chain using some of its ecosystem projects, which we will follow up later in another section. Moving on, the next layer 1 blockchain in my portfolio today is Kaspa. Similar to Tron, I also have 2% of my portfolio in Kaspa, and I just want to have even splits among all of the layer 1 blockchains that I think have strong potential to make a comeback this cycle. Now, Kaspa is the other best example in the other camp of strong layer 1 blockchains, in the sense that it doesn't have a lot of user adoption, nor does it support very complex applications, but it has some of the strongest price charts in all of crypto. You'll see that on a log scale for Kaspa has existed, it basically has always gone in a slow uptrend. And the strongest backing of this is how the Kaspa token was launched. It was fairly launched with no pre-mine as only a proof of work mining program, similar to how Bitcoin started. And it continues to have halving cycles that are very similar as well. That's why this mining driven and halving events driven tokenomics still proves very strong today, with its fully diluted valuation at 3.8 billion, but the new supply being issued very, very slowly. Kaspa also has no private investors and no team tokens. All of the supply is fairly distributed. Aside from that, you can't really look at the adoption angle on Kaspa much because it doesn't support smart contracts yet, and it doesn't have nearly as much functionality as Solana or Ethereum. But nonetheless, we're looking at investment potential here, and that's why Kaspa, in my opinion, is at a very good spot now. Remember, Kaspa was one of the most hyped up coins in 2023, reaching 13 cents by November 2023. However, for the past 10 months, Kaspa basically has been trending sideways, going between 12 cents to as high as 18 cents in this sideways range, and today it sits at 15.3 cents. Eventually, this long consolidation will break out, and especially in a new bull run with these type of tokenomics, it's definitely going towards the upside. And that's why Kaspa is not a token you want to miss out, and that's why I also have it at 2% in my portfolio. The third and last layer 1 blockchain that I have in my portfolio is Fantom with the token FTM. This also comes in at 2% of this portfolio. Fantom is another highly capable layer 1 blockchain that's able to do more than 10,000 transactions per second to rival the hyper scalable blockchains like Solana, Sui, or Aptos. And more recently, they launched the Sonic network and plan to rebrand their token completely. This Sonic network is even more scalable than the original Fantom Opera network. Aside from its high scalability, the other major point going for Fantom is its tokenomics, as the Fantom project was launched even before Solana. As you can see on its price chart, Fantom has been trading since November 2018, and this means nearly all of its supply has already been circulating, with the market cap versus fully diluted valuation at already 88%. This means there's very little investor supply overhang. You'll notice that majority of the upside on Fantom has happened in the 2021 bull run, right around the end of 2020 in January 2021. This is because Fantom is one of those coins that usually stagnates in the bear cycle, but but runs hard in the bull cycle. For those that have been around in the 2021 bull run, Fantom was the close third in terms of the layer 1 rotation trade right after Solana and AVAX. But in this current cycle, Fantom's price is still highly lagging behind the rallies of Solana and AVAX. Both Solana and AVAX are near its previous all-time highs, while Fantom is still not there yet. The Fantom FTM token is also going through the upgrade to be changed to the S token for the Sonic network. This is in progress now and will be supported by all major exchanges to do a token swap, including on Binance. Whenever Binance supports one of these token swaps, it is a big event as it functions much like a new listing on Binance with a new chart. Usually this brings another wave of hype to the token, and in the case of Fantom, this is exactly what it needs to get new attention to the network. I do want to give some honorable mentions in terms of layer 1 projects that are not in my portfolio, and I'll tell you the reason why I don't have any of these, even though they're very popular. First of all, we have Sui. This is often touted to be the Solana killer as their technology is theoretically superior to Solana, and their developers all share the same code bases using the Rust programming language. But the reason why I don't have Sui in my portfolio is because the tokenomics of Sui is still not at a good spot. Out of the 7.8 billion fully diluted valuation, only 27% of that is circulating today, which leaves a lot of investor sell pressure to be coming to the market. Number 2 honorable mention is the Tron network. This is catching a lot of hype recently after Justin Sun, the founder of Tron, started to really create and support a lot of meme coins on the chain to replicate the success of Solana. However, the OGs in this space will know that the Tron network is very old technology and it really is not comparable in performance or adoption metrics to Solana. In terms of performance, it can't handle the types of speed and throughput of Solana. And in terms of adoption, well, Tron simply has really poor wallet infrastructure, RPC infrastructure, and decentralized exchange infrastructure. The good thing going for Tron is that the Tron coin itself has a ton of liquidity being listed on all major exchanges, and the tokenomics is quite good having all the supply circulating. But nonetheless, at $13 billion in FDV and market cap, this is already very high in my opinion. And that's why I don't have it in my portfolio. I don't think Tron will outperform Solana from current price. Lastly, a worthy competitor to Solana is AVAX, the Avalanche network. I do think Avalanche is likely to perform similar to the price of Solana. It still has very strong adoption in gaming with things like the Beam network and off the grid, the AAA level title that's being developed using Avalanche subnets. Avalanche also has a lot of exposure in terms of the RWA space with the Singapore MAS and many different banks already launching RWA initiatives on top of Avalanche. So I do think AVAX could be worth having in a portfolio. But I just don't think the price of AVAX will outperform Solana at a high chance of doing so. You gotta look at the market cap of AVAX, which is already pushing towards $10 billion. And at the current ranking of top 15, AVAX, in order to do those type of gains, it needs to break into the top 10 rankings mark. And there are a lot of strong contenders in this range. And in order to do so, AVAX needs to pull off something seriously magical instead of just following the footsteps of Solana and copying everything that Solana does. And that's why, although I think AVAX is a strong coin and it should do well in this run, I just don't have it in my portfolio. Instead, I want to take whatever I want to put into AVAX and just put it into Solana. I think that's a much more high probability bet to do just as well. Lastly, 2 upcoming networks that are worth paying attention to in terms of layer 1s. I have already mentioned some of these before. Monad definitely seems very interesting. There's an extremely high amount of attention coming for this. Look out for this in 2025. And the other network that's taking an opposite approach is Berachain, having a very strong community approach first. Neither of these coins are trading yet. I just want to give you guys a heads up. These are 2 that I am paying attention to for the next year. But depending on what price levels they launch at, I will give updates on whether I have these in my portfolio or not once they start trading. Okay, the next strongest sector in terms of crypto altcoins is undoubtedly crypto gaming. Crypto gaming is such a clear use case of blockchain technology and tokenized assets that I just don't think it's going away anytime soon. When you take in-game assets like currencies, points, collectibles as NFTs and skins and items and achievements, put them on chain, you just unlock so much potential in terms of liquidity, in terms of interoperability, and in terms of what you can do with these assets. But nonetheless, the adoption curve of blockchain in combination with gaming has just been front run by the narrative hypes for a few years already. And that's why a very interesting statistic I want to show you, among all crypto gaming altcoins that have launched since October 2023, the largest one in terms of market cap is only at $600 million fully diluted valuation, which is Pixels, a Binance Launch Pool project. And even this Binance Launch project has seen nothing but down only, having reached the all-time high of 90 cents, but currently trades at 12 cents only. This is why crypto gaming still gets so much bad rap, because many people have been burnt by the metaverse hype and the play to earn hype, and more recently the high FDV low float gaming project launches hype. Before we get into my actual gaming altcoin picks, I just want to show you some bad examples to avoid, and this is how I'm filtering the actual good altcoins to put into my portfolio. The first type of gaming altcoins to avoid are these legacy generation crypto gaming infrastructure projects. The most obvious examples are things like Engine Coin, the layer 1 blockchain for gaming that really nobody uses anymore, or things like Gala, the so-called Steam of crypto and Steam of crypto gaming, with not much new games being developed on this platform anymore. These are all last generation infrastructure that simply were just tokens that continued to exist in the gaming sector, but does not drive any more adoption today. And then we have the newly launched games with high token inflation. Some of the clearest examples are Pixel, which launched at 90, dropped down all the way to 12 cents. Another example, the Zai token also launched on Binance, peaked at $1.50, today sits at 18 cents, pretty crazy drawdown. Another one, Big Time, another clear example, peaked at 80 cents, today sits at under 10 cents, only at 6 cents. Wow, that's a crazy amount of drawdown. And even one of my gaming project picks in the portfolio from the beginning of the year, Shrapnel, has seen such a crazy drawdown that I don't even think this chart is believable anymore. It's peaked at 40 cents and today sits at 2.4 cents. How crazy is this kind of a chart? And all of this is attributed to the poor supply management and the high amounts of inflation coming from early investor unlocks. And the last group of projects in the crypto gaming sector that are no longer worthy of investing in are these old crypto games that focus on either play to earn or metaverse mechanics and just don't match up to the AAA level of games or gaming infrastructure projects today. Some of the clearest bad examples in this sector are things like Axie Infinity, which just continues to trend sideways and not have had any growth since the bear market in 2023. We have things like Sandbox, which if you look at the past year price growth, it was at 30 cents in September last year, and today it dropped below the bear market lows of 30 cents and trades at only 25 cents today. We have a similar price chart on Illuvium. The bear market lows were at $40 and today it's at $37. It even broke a new all-time low that was lower than its 2022 lows. How crazy is that? This clearly shows me that these old games are simply not going to come back and have another cycle again. So what's the takeaway here? The takeaway is the crypto gaming sector is still going to do well. But today, we really need to focus on strong tokenomics, strong supply distribution, and especially looking at the price charts. The price charts have to be actually outperforming the rest of the market, which shows that the team is here to stay and continue to grind into this next phase. Now, if you guys have been following my crypto gaming portfolio, you will know that some of our picks have held up super well since the beginning of the year and actually kept majority of its profits. Most notably, our picks were Superverse, Immutable X, Beam, and Parallel Prime. All four of these altcoins are still in my crypto gaming portfolio today. There is a major caveat here in the sense that Superverse is really taking over in terms of my conviction bets in crypto gaming, and I'll explain why. Remember, we have to observe how well the teams are able to control the supply that they're giving out to marketing and to early investors. And this will directly reflect in how well the prices have kept up in maintaining their profits since last year. So let's take a look at Beam, Prime, and Immutable X. All three of these coins have had similar price charts since the first gaming hype by the end of 2023. So you see here, Beam has had a run up from 0.4 cents to 4 cents, doing a 10x. And since then, it has had a major retrace lasting around 6 months now, coming back down to 1.2 cents. So it has kept about 3x gain since October 2023. Similarly, when you look at Echelon Prime over the 1 year chart, the bottom on Prime was right around $3. The tops were at $27, so doing 9x. And the current price is at $7, which is right around 2.5x of October prices. And again, similar on Immutable X, IMX, we have the bottoms at 50 cents, the recent tops in March at $3.60, so that's a 7x growth, and the current price at $1.25, which is just at 2.5x returns. So these three coins are showing strong price growth and good supply control, having kept a decent chunk of their profits that have had since October 2023. These are already much better charts than all of the other bad examples we have outlined, which have all erased all their gains that have had since October last year. However, when you observe the only chart that really outperformed everything else, and that is Super. Looking at the 1 year chart of Super, the bottoms were at 7 cents and the tops were at $1.50, so doing a 20x on the rally. But currently, Super's price still sits at 63 cents, so it is still up more than 7x since the bear market lows. And if you have been following the project as closely as I have, you'll know that Super has not had any token inflation for the past year. I have been keeping close track of the circulating supply versus the total supplies, and also keeping track on their docs and looking at all of the investor unlocking and staking unlocks and the team tokens. None of those have moved. Having talked to my friend Elio Trades himself, who is the founder of Superverse, I know that for a fact that he is not giving out easy tokens to anyone that just asks for it like so many projects do. Instead, if you believe in the movement that Superverse is bringing to the crypto gaming ecosystem, well, you gotta buy directly from the market. And this is directly reflecting in the price strength of Super, having kept up such a large percentage of its gains that have had since the bear market lows. Now, there's a lot more to pay attention to upcoming for Super, and some of the things that I have heard really is bring a lot of value to the crypto gaming movement as a whole, especially how the Super token is getting integrated in every single new game that's coming up, and being integrated in those games in unique formats such as airdrops, such as being used as utility tokens, and having the new attention brought in from the Superverse community and the adjacent Neo Tokyo community to support all of these new games coming up. That is something that's very easy to do, but basically no other project is able to bring to the table. For these reasons combined, I have concentrated my crypto gaming exposure to the Super token at 4% of my entire portfolio. This is in fact the highest altcoin exposure that I have outside of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana. I have seriously looked at more than 20 different crypto gaming altcoins spanning across infrastructure, new games launching, game launch pads, P2E games, metaverse games, etc., etc. And the only one that I could find are all on this list that have done decently well, and all out of that decent list, Super clearly stands out as the only one that has this level of supply control. That's why I'm making a concentrated bet on the Super token, and let's see how this one does in the upcoming cycle. The last crypto gaming altcoin that I have in this portfolio is one that you might not have heard of, and that is the XBORG token. XBORG is a much newer project, having launched just last month in August. But unlike all of the other gaming coin launches that have large investor unlocks and huge investor overhang, and a huge starting fully diluted valuation that only goes down only. What the XBORG token does very different and very surprisingly is that they have given out 100% token unlocks to all of their investors, all of their pre-sale investors, and all of their public sale investors. This has been a very ballsy move that I give them a lot of respect for, because this brought a lot of FUD at the beginning of this project, and they had to sustain a lot of sell pressure and maintain a price floor. And that's why this coin today trades very low, only at $14 million market cap with a $68 million fully diluted valuation. But after following this project very in depth, I give him a lot of respect, because this supply control is the exact reason why I have a relatively strong confidence in this coin doing well versus all of the other more established coins. Because ultimately, supply control matters way more than how high your current market cap is. Without any investor overhang, the only leftover holders are your true believers and people that actually want to support a project. And that's why I think XBORG token has a lot of potential once the crypto gaming narrative comes back. At its core, the XBORG protocol is an identity protocol that supports arbitrary blockchains and arbitrary games. And they are partnered with major esports organizations like Team Liquid, Ninjas in Pajamas, and BDS. I'm not going to go much more in depth on this because this is a very low cap coin, but I do have 1% of my portfolio in this coin, and let's see how this one does in the upcoming crypto gaming cycle. Moving on, the next major sector that I have in my portfolio is AI cryptos. The decentralization of AI using blockchain and crypto is an easy narrative that will get cycled over and over again for the next few years. The advancements of AI is not stopping anytime soon, and in order for that to happen, AI will become more and more centralized by design. The big tech will continue to control large amounts of GPU supply and the actual platforms in terms of who can use them and the data behind them. This is why more and more people will start to call for decentralizing AI. And whenever you talk about decentralization, you have to talk about blockchain. Therefore, as the demand for AI continue to increase for the next few years, the talk for blockchain, a tool to decentralize AI, is going to increase as well. However, it's very important to know that the platforms to actually decentralize AI are not ready yet today. At least they are nowhere close to the level of production readiness to the big tech AI that they're offering. So when investing in AI altcoins, the much more important thing to focus on is the narratives. Are they able to catch on to the narratives that are currently trending in the AI space? Now, the first major AI narrative has been DePIN, or decentralized physical infrastructure, which is decentralizing the marketplaces and the control of GPUs, these GPUs that are used to train AI models and help the entire network run. In the next AI wave, I no longer want to focus on the DePIN narrative, as these are heavily saturated with not only older projects like Render and Akash trading in billions of dollars, but many newcomers as well, all flooding to the market and taking up GPU market share. You can only have so many different marketplace competitors to provide GPU power. Instead, what I like to focus on in this next phase is the AI computing networks that are handling AI model training, AI model inference, or AI agents. The first AI altcoin that I have in my portfolio is Near Protocol. This is a project that I have covered many times before in the AI sector, but a lot of people still don't know that Near is a AI-driven network. For the full background on Near, I recommend you guys to check out my live streams that I have done 5 months ago. When Bitcoin first hit its all-time high, I covered Near here. I also covered Near in my top AI DePIN cryptos in 2024 video that you should check out in this video. The TLDR is that Near Protocol started as a layer 1 blockchain back in 2020, right around the time that Solana, AVAX, and all of its competitors started. However, before Near pivoted to a blockchain project, the core team and the founder of Near were actually all machine learning researchers, having started Near as an AI startup. In fact, the founder of Near, Ilya, is actually a seasoned researcher and one of the co-authors of the Transformers research paper, which is behind modern machine learning. It's often quoted as one of the core pieces that pushed machine learning forward. Just last year at the NVIDIA conference, Jensen Huang, the CEO of NVIDIA, directly called out Ilya to be one of the brightest researchers in the AI space and invited him to a keynote together to present ideas together. And recently announced at the second half of this year, Near is officially pushing towards building their blockchain for AI use cases. And this is still not widely known across the crypto space. Most people still see Near as just yet another layer 1 project to compete with Solana, etc. That is why I think Near Protocol is still quite undervalued compared to other layer 1s. And look at this tokenomics as well. Out of the fully diluted market cap of 4.4 billion, 94% of that is circulating at 4.1 million circulating market cap. Really good tokenomics across the board. Technically, you could put Near Protocol at the layer 1 category and say that this is yet another layer 1 that I'm making a bet on. But I think the actual upside potential for Near in 2025 is going to be what they do in the AI sector. And that's why I have it at 2% in the AI portion of my portfolio. Next up, for AI altcoins in my portfolio, I have Arweave also coming in at 2%. This is yet another AI project that I have covered quite a few times already in our previous videos. You should go check those out for the updates coming for Arweave in terms of fundamentals and in terms of the new products that they're developing. TLDR for Arweave is somewhat similar to Near. So Arweave used to be a decentralized storage network similar to Filecoin. It also has very strong tokenomics, having 100% of all of the supply already circulating, which means the market cap is all the same as the fully diluted valuation. There are no investor unlocks. Now, the actual AI portion coming for Arweave is around AO the computer, which is a hyperparallel computing network specifically meant for AI that is in already testnet right now and going to mainnet very soon. The AO decentralized computer sits on top of Arweave and takes advantage of Arweave as a base storage layer. And with AO, there is a new token being introduced called the AO token that you can already start to farm by bridging over either staked ETH or DAI. And this also benefits Arweave token holders directly, as AR token holders will be receiving new AO tokens. 33% of all AO tokens will be going to AR token holders over a very long period of time slowly. If you're interested in getting your hands on the AO token early, you should go follow their Twitter for when they are minting this token. And it's also very interesting because this token is doing 100% fair launch as well, with 21 million total token supply, similar to Bitcoin, and also a halving schedule. So another fair launch that anyone can participate by just bridging assets early, or even just holding AR tokens directly. Not a lot of people have realized that Arweave is now completely pivoting to a decentralized computing network, and this is why I think Arweave is still undervalued today at $1.3 billion FDV. I think the true hype will come to Arweave once the AO token goes live in February of next year, and once the dual token system actually comes onto market, people will start to realize the true potential of this combined hyperparallel computer for AI computing. Okay, next up, we have to talk about this project when talking about AI altcoins, and that is Bittensor. Bittensor also takes up 2% of this portfolio. Really quick, Bittensor is the one that kind of started it all in terms of this new wave of AI crypto hype. They claim to be pioneering the decentralized production of artificial intelligence, and I have covered this project on the channel before. In November of 2023, I have highlighted all of the strongest AI altcoins at that time, and Bittensor was just having its explosive growth, having gone from $40 all the way to $120 right around the time I posted this video. At the current time, I can finally start to recommend Bittensor as a good entry opportunity at current levels, as it has finally come to a good value range for an entry into the next phase. A quick recap into the Bittensor technology. It is a decentralized AI model training and inference network. It does function smoothly. However, in terms of capabilities, it's still nowhere close to the centralized AI platforms like ChatGPT. Nonetheless, Bittensor is the most widely discussed decentralized alternative to traditional big tech AI platforms. Whenever Silicon Valley people bring up, the advance of AI and what they need to do to decentralize AI, Bittensor is the #1 project that they get into. Even Chamath, the infamous founder of Social Capital, also references Bittensor as the alternative to OpenAI that is decentralized. Now, in terms of tokenomics for Bittensor, the current market cap to fully diluted valuation is not great. It's at a 35% market cap circulating. However, it's worth noting that Bittensor does have a halving schedule, and all tokens were fairly mined to early node participants, early people that were running the network. So these rates are slowing down very quickly as time goes on. So the supply schedule of Bittensor is actually being distributed very slowly and very fairly instead of being given out to early investors. So these numbers are not that bad. You can check the real stats on this website called Tau Stats. Over the next year, the supply of Bittensor will grow from around 7 million tokens to 10.5 million tokens by the end of 2025, after which the Bittensor network will have the first halving event and the supply issuance will slow down dramatically after that. But even at 10 million tokens, we can just extrapolate that today and look at what the market cap will be by end of 2025, which is potentially the end of the bull market. So even if we just take the circulating supply and plus all of the inflation that will occur for the next 15 months and put it at 10.5 million tokens, the current market cap is still trading at around $2.7 billion. That is not super highly inflated, much lower than the 5.5 billion FDV that is actually displayed here. So having this halving schedule actually helps a lot. And that's why I'm not so worried about the market cap to FDV ratio. In terms of price growth, just look at this past year. So we have covered how Bittensor had its first explosive rally from $40 all the way to $120 and even reaching $350 on the second leg up here. And since then, it has just been going crazy, reaching as high as $700. But now finally, it's coming back down to this consolidation range between $200 to $350. And you see this range, it's very significant because it's all the way back here when Bittensor first had its sideways range, 220 to 370. So in this range, we have a very clear entry and stop loss level. As long as Bittensor holds above $220, I think this is simply a reaccumulation phase before the next rally up. Since January of this year, for the first time in 9 months, I can finally say that Bittensor is at a good point for entry. And that's why if you're looking at AI altcoins to put in your portfolio today, Bittensor definitely, I will again bump it up to the top tier of AI coins you need to have exposure to. The next AI altcoin in my portfolio, you might not have heard of, but you probably have held this altcoin before, and that is called ASI. ASI stands for Artificial Superintelligence Alliance, a very corny name, I know, but this is actually a super on-brand name for a rebrand of a very popular set of projects. Check this out. The Artificial Superintelligence Alliance is a merger to unite 3 popular projects, namely Fetch AI, Ocean Protocol, and SingularityNet. These 3 projects are 3 of the oldest AI cryptos that have existed in the market since 2018. Now, for long-term followers of our channel, you know my stance on these 3 altcoins specifically. The first time that I have covered AI altcoins on the channel was over a year ago, and I have covered 6 altcoins in the AI sector that were back then existing. And these 3 specifically, I were not big fans of because they only focus on latching onto the AI hype, but their actual technology were very poor. Now today, Fetch AI, Ocean Protocol, and SingularityNet are nothing new. They still run the similar technologies as before. So Fetch AI is an agents network. SingularityNet is a kind of a legacy competitor to Bittensor. It is a decentralized AI models and inference network. And Ocean Protocol is a data marketplace for AI. These 3 project teams, well, they know why they exist. They know why they're popular. It's because they are some of the longest running projects. They have strong tokenomics and a ton of exchange listings, having been trading in the market for 6 years. And they were some of the early adopters in crypto AI. So they know this and they are leaning heavily into this narrative by combining forces. Joining together these 3 protocols, all of a sudden you have the AI side protocol that combines AI agents from Fetch AI, marketplace for data from Ocean Protocol, and a decentralized AI models and inference network from SingularityNet. And now their new rebrand is much clearer and much more on brand in terms of AI cryptos. Artificial Superintelligence Alliance. ASI as the ticker name is also very memorable and directly attributes to AI. So superintelligence, a very common known name. Even the ASI abbreviation is very commonly used in the AI space. This rebrand also involves a huge token migration that combines 3 tokens into 1. The first phase is to combine the Ocean token and the SingularityNet token into FET tokens. So basically converting 3 tokens to 1. And the second phase is to have a new token deployment of the ASI token and having that listed on all of the exchanges for all exchanges that support all 3 of these coins. So as you can imagine, with this combined approach, they will have all of a sudden a huge treasury and a huge amount of liquidity that used to support 3 tokens, which now only needs to support 1 token. And this token has the combined holder base of all 3 projects. So these are some of very bullish points. But you might worry, okay, what about the new token supply? Is this going to be a highly inflated new token? Actually, very interestingly is that there is no new token being minted. Instead, the token supply of ASI is directly combining the token supply of the 3 previous tokens, but not introducing any new tokens. So the only new tokens that is being added is on top of the Fed token to take into account converting Ocean token and Singularity Net token into this new token holders. This means there are no extra sell pressure, they're not bringing in new investors, there is no new supply overhang. And that's why they're able to convey these kind of numbers here. Out of the total supply of 2.6 billion, 2.5 billion of that is circulating. And that's why the market cap versus FDV ratio actually very healthy at 96% circulating. You can say whatever you want about this project and how they're taking advantage of the narrative, but as long as it works, it works. It's super corny, but they are not introducing new tokens. And this is honestly a very fair token merger that will bring a wave of new hype, especially combining 3 Binance listed projects together into one. This is going to be one of the biggest token migration hype events into a new project. And that's why I don't want to miss out on this ASI project. They know exactly what they're doing. And once the AI crypto wave comes back again, this is going to be one of the strongest narrative drivers in the entire space. So definitely pay attention to this. And that's why I have 2% of my portfolio given to the ASI project today. Lastly, the final AI altcoin in my portfolio is yet another narrative-driven coin, but slightly more technology behind it, and that is Delysium with its ticker AGI. Delysium is an AI agents network, and you can think of it as a more advanced version of Fetch AI. Essentially, they have AI-powered smart contracts that can handle things like staking, things like depositing, withdrawing, and doing swaps on chain, or you can have smart contracts that's automating tasks in a traditional sense of AI. There are some real adoption of Delysium, at least as proof of concept. So Coinbase actually have released their first AI to AI crypto transactions. So basically having 2 AI agents talk to each other and trade different coins on chain without having anyone actually sign those transactions. So this is directly happening on the Delysium network. These tests have just recently been experimented on at Coinbase using Delysium. What I think is very interesting for Delysium is how much attention that it was able to gather very quickly in the first half of this year during the first AI hype wave. Out of all of the strongest AI altcoins, Delysium outperformed all of them. Look at this price chart. Since it had its rally in February 2024, over a 1-month period, Delysium's price went from 6 cents to 60 cents, doing more than a 10x gain in 1 month. This really put Delysium on everyone's radar, and this kind of a growth leaves a lasting impression. And that's why on this next phase, especially when you look at a log scale chart, a lot of these gains on Delysium has actually been kept. Similar to what we saw on the price of Superverse, on Delysium, going from 6 cents to 67 cents, doing 11x. Now it trades at 11 cents. So it still kept a 2x gain that it had in that first wave. I do have to note that Delysium AGI is at a much lower market cap than all the other 4 AI altcoins on my portfolio, and the market cap to FDV ratio is a bit worse than the other 4. However, with a lasting impression like these kind of huge rallies when the narrative is popular, chances are when the narrative picks up again, similar kind of approach should come from the team. And that's why I currently have AGI in my portfolio, and I'm not sure if I'm going to hold this at a very long term, but if we see this kind of a rally again, I think it should have another explosive run up soon. It also helps that Delysium understands narratives super well, having named their ticker AGI, Artificial General Intelligence, one of the most common abbreviations used in the AI sector. This AI altcoin is a bit higher risk, higher reward, but I do think the risk to reward ratio is there. Okay, the next sector of altcoins in my portfolio is the one that everyone has been nonstop talking about, and that is meme coins. Even in my last portfolio video since the beginning of the year, I have had exposure to meme coins, specifically Shiba Inu, Dogecoin, and Pepe. Even before most of these meme coin hype on Solana existed, I did have exposure to meme coins. However, I didn't have exposure exposure to some of the Solana meme coins as early as I wanted to. But ultimately, I see the value in meme coins because what drives meme coins? Number one, meme coins on the strongest chains with retail adoption. Well, whenever they launch a token, a lot of people can flood to it. Number two, if you have an actually catchy meme with a culture and a team and a fan base behind it on the traditional internet, well, this does have value because the more people that get exposed to that meme, when they see that coin, they will attribute to that meme. So things like Doge, Pepe, they just make sense. And number three reason why meme coins are popular is because directly of the inverse of what we saw with VC coins. With these coins with high inflation, low amount of tokens circulating, and a high inflated FDV. Meme coins by design, they have to launch very small with a huge percentage of the supply circulating, sometimes all of the supply circulating and given to the community. This means by design, meme coins are anti-VC and anti-insiders, although nowadays they are really driven by insider influencers and KOLs, and I have seen firsthand of that whole shebang, how people can get really shady behind that as well. But the underlying distribution mechanism and why meme coins seem to be more fair investments to a retail audience, that is still true. You just have to find actually fairly distributed coins. So with that assumption, what kind of meme coins are actually worth investing in? Here are a few criteria that I used to pick these portfolio additions. Number one, we need to bet on meme coins only on the strongest blockchains. I used to make the mistake of picking up a meme coin if I am bullish on a certain layer 1 or layer 2. We have picked up things like number one meme coin on AVAX, on Arbitrum, on Mantle, etc. You need to buy meme coins on the retail chains. And what are the chains that retail actually use today? I think there are only three: Ethereum, Solana, and Base. So this is why I only have meme coins on these three chains, nothing else. Number two, only the best of the best meme coins break above the $300 million-ish market cap ceiling and actually make it onto tier 1 centralized exchanges like Binance and Coinbase. Only when they have reached these levels can they survive long term. We have seen some of the strongest tier 2 meme coins like Ponke, Apu, Puff, etc. These have done quite well. But once they reach around the $300 million mark, they really start to fall off and can't go much higher. This is because meme coins, with their distribution, they rely on decentralized exchanges for trading, which means the liquidity is very limited. And once you get to a certain point, you can't push much higher because as a result of impermanent loss, if you only trade on decentralized exchanges, there will be a bigger and bigger gap growing between the market cap versus the liquidity you have on the decentralized exchange. This means usually when the coins get to around $300 million mark, the liquidity on the decentralized exchanges are so small, so it cannot sustain much a higher price growth without the trading just goes out of whack, and you can't even buy decent chunk anymore without incurring huge slippage. When the volatility gets that high, the coin just doesn't grow anymore. And that's why they have to trade on a bigger centralized exchange in order to work. So that's number two. I only want to focus on coins that have significantly broken above that $300 million market cap ceiling and maintained above it and have gotten a bigger centralized exchange listings. And number three, you don't want to overflood yourself with meme coins. There are thousands of meme coins being launched every day now. It really is getting ridiculous. But ultimately, what we're betting on is the long-term potential of meme coin being correlated from other sectors and having able to capture the new retail audience coming into these popular chains and actually having the liquidity to back it. When considering these things, only one or two meme coins in each blockchain makes sense. You don't have to bet on smaller meme coins. And in fact, I would really argue against buying any meme coins that are low cap now. It just doesn't make sense. In order to invest in meme coins, you have to bet on the market leaders. So with these rules, I have picked out 4 meme coins, and I'm just going to list all 4 of them directly because there's not much more to talk about. They all fit the same rules. Here they are. The 4 meme coins I have in my portfolio today are Pepe, Mog, Dog with Hat, and Brett. I have 2% of my portfolio in each of them. First of all, Pepe and Mog are simply the number 1 and number 2 most popular meme coins on Ethereum. I say these because these two coins trade with the highest amount of liquidity on chain. So both of them are in the top 10 in terms of liquidity depth and in terms of volume consistently every day for the past few months already. Sometimes there will be short-term meme coin hypes like these narrow coins that I have dabbled in, but look at these liquidity depth. There is only $23,000 of liquidity on the downside, whereas on MOG there's $200,000 of liquidity. This is a big sign that tells me these high volume meme coins are not going to last much longer and will have a much harder time breaking above that $300 million market cap ceiling. Now, Pepe is also listed on Binance already, so it is in that first caliber, the highest tier of exchanges already. MOG, on the other hand, is not yet listed on Binance, but it is listed everywhere else, such as Bybit and KuCoin. And I am decently confident for it to get a Binance listing over the next 6 to 12 months, let's say, conservatively speaking. As long as it maintains this level of volume and this level of market cap attention, it should be able to get there. The other two meme coins I have are, first of all, Dog with Hat. So with everyone knows already, this is the number one meme coin on Solana. It has actually overtaken Bonk as the number one highest trading volume meme coin on Solana. Very important for WIF, it is already listed on Binance, which means it has reached that top tier, having $160 million of daily trading volume on Binance. This is much telling sign for a tier one project. So WIF is definitely not going to die. You can't really just treat it as a meme coin anymore. And it also has a large amount of liquidity on the decentralized exchange Radium with more than $10 million of LP there. So you can always trade this coin very liquid. This is the main meme coin bet I have on Solana. And honestly, I think you just need one or two of the market leaders. You can replace WIF with Bonk. I think they should perform similarly. There is another one that's very popular upcoming called Popcat. It is starting to get listed on Binance Perpetual Exchange, not yet listed on Binance Spot Exchange, but eventually it should come. So I think any of these three meme coins on Solana should do well. For the current case, I just see WIF as the market leader on Solana, so that's why I have this one. I don't think you need to have all three. Similarly, I have Brett in my portfolio as well, as this is the number one meme coin on the Base blockchain and very important as well. So Brett is also listed on Binance. Currently, it's only listed on Binance Perpetuals, but soon I do expect it to get listed on the Binance spot markets. And also very important, you see Brett having a large amount of liquidity on Uniswap V3 trading on Base. As you can see here, 24-hour volume, number 2 and number 3 are Brett. And in terms of liquidity, Brett is number 2 in terms of Uniswap decentralized exchange on the Base network. There really is no second best on the Base chain. If you're bullish on Base like I am for their retail adoption, Brett is the coin to go for. Remember earlier when we were talking about the layer 1 narrative and I really wanted a exposure on the Base network? Well, I do think having Brett is the way to gain exposure to the adoption of the Base network. Some people will argue that you can have OP token, the optimism token, as a proxy bet to Base, but I think that's kind of far-fetched now. Just because Base uses the optimism technology doesn't mean they are the core partners. The OP stack supports many different other blockchains out there and they don't really have any revenue share going on to the OP token itself. Instead, when new users come into the Base chain, I think more likely than not, they will want to get exposure on that chain's main meme coin. And I think Brett is the bet to go for if you want exposure on Base. And that's basically it for meme coins. I don't have much more to say. You don't want to overthink when investing in meme coins. As long as you are following these rules that I have outlined, those should be the fundamental points you should look out for. And all the rest about, what kind of content, what kind of team, what these teams tend to say, none of that really matters when it comes to meme coins. Meme coins are not supposed to be building huge ecosystem and huge platforms behind their coins. It's all about the attention they have, the chain that they are backing. Is it actually getting large retail adoption? And do they actually have the liquidity backing them with large centralized exchanges? Okay, the last sector of altcoins that I have in my portfolio today is RWAs. This is a sector that really seems niched, but it has been gaining a ton of traction over the past 6 months. I have teased about why I am bullish on RWAs on the channel before in my crypto narratives video and also on our recent live stream for the best altcoin sectors to invest in for 2025. The TLDR of these two videos is that when looking at the highest performing altcoins by percentages in the top 300, top 500 altcoins, the only few sectors that stand out are the obvious ones, layer 1 gaming, AI, memes, but also one that you don't expect, and that is RWAs. And something very unique that only a few people can actually have the data on is the YouTube viewership. We do a lot of research on keywords that are trending in the crypto circles on YouTube. And whenever people post about RWAs over the past 6 to 9 months, these videos have been getting a lot of views, way more than people are getting in terms of DeFi, NFTs, trading, etc. So then I dug a bit deeper. What's actually happening in the RWA space? And then I found something super interesting. Now, everyone already knows that projects like Ondo Finance, these have done super well over the past year. And especially when you look at these price charts, I mean, this is just insane. Starting at 22 cents, running up to $1.38, $1.50, and still Ondo trades at $5 billion FDV today. However, even if you don't consider these highly trending and highly popular altcoins, even some of the smaller altcoins in the RWA sector have been doing really well. On our channel, I have been covering the RWA sector as far back as May 2023. And on this video, I covered quite a big list of RWA altcoins such as Centrifuge, Goldfinch, Swarm Markets, etc. You can go ahead and revisit that video if you want. Now, this video was not popular 1 year ago in 2023. I'll just show you the stats directly right now. Look at this views chart here. Since this video was published in May 2023, it has been getting very slow views, 18,000, and then it kind of started to trend slowly upwards when the bull market started in October to November. But then look at this huge jump in March of this year. This video started to go exponential and getting so much faster views over a short period of time. And this was triggered by clearly a new wave of hype in RWAs. A lot of people flooded to this video. So then I went back to the coins mentioned in this video. Remember, this was a fundamentals driven video. These coins were very low market cap back then. How did they do in this past year? Let me just show you some charts here of the coins mentioned. So here, first of all, we have Goldfinch. Since the bull market started in October of last year, Goldfinch went from 40 cents all the way up to $5.40, doing a 11 to 12x gain. And even today, it sits at $2.20, more than a 5x gain since last October. Centrifuge going from 22 cents to $1, doing a nearly a 5x. It has retraced most of its gains, and this is actually one of the few RWA coins that have retraced a lot over the past 6 months. I'll show you a couple more examples. Here is Origin Trail. This went from 21 cents to $1.40, doing a 6x and still trades at 50 cents. So this did 2.5x from the bottom. Again, consider these numbers. This is already outperforming majority of the gaming altcoins and how much they have rallied since last October. Here's another one. We have Polymesh. September, October last year, it was trading around 10 to 15 cents. Look at the peak at 65 cents, doing a 5x. Swarm Markets, this was definitely a low cap coin. Only at 5 cents, but look at the peak here, $1.17, doing more than 20x. And today it still trades at 30 cents. So that's a 5x, 6x gain maintained since October. Pretty crazy, even though like nobody was talking about these coins for the past 6 months when you look at some of the popular channels. And without doing this research, I would have never imagined RWA coins doing these kind of numbers and sustain them. Here's another one, Polytrade. Last October, it was trading at 8 to 9 cents. The peak was $2.70, $2.80. So this did 25x. That's crazy. Currently, it's at 50 cents. So still more than a 5x gain since last October. And another one, Maple Finance. We briefly mentioned this on the video as well, going from $4.50 to the peak of $25, 5 to 6x gain, and today sits at $16, still 3.5x to 4x gain maintained. Look at this huge list. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 coins. Out of these 7 low to mid cap coins, 6 of them have maintained 3 to 5x gain since last October. Those numbers are outperforming the strongest gaming altcoins on average. Pretty crazy numbers if you think about it. And what's more crazy is that these are the low caps. When you consider the high caps, the actual flood of liquidity coming into the market for RWA is even bigger. So let me just give you the 4 large altcoins that I have in my portfolio today in terms of RWAs. And those are Ondo Finance, MantraDAO, Orion Lumia, and Pendle. I have 2% of my portfolio in each of these large cap altcoins. Let's look at how much market cap growth have happened on these 4 coins. First of all, we have Ondo. Since it launched in the beginning, January of this year, it went from 20 cents to $1.40, doing a 7x. However, look at how much market cap growth this has been. This coin launched at a $2 billion market cap and it managed to reach $14 billion in fully diluted valuation. Like it or hate it, how much liquidity was required to drive this kind of a growth? That's pretty crazy. Those are numbers that you see on a huge layer 1 run. Like, for example, the run up we had on the entire Tron network was kind of similar, going from $2 to $3 billion to $15 billion. That similar type of liquidity came to one RWA coin, the number 1 RWA coin, Ondo. Now, this coin has had a major retrace since then, peaking out at $1.40 and now sits at 60 cents. I do think it is at a value range and I would like to see it hold around this 60 to 70 cents mark. I don't want it to drop much further than this, but nonetheless, this is the number 1 RWA altcoin you need to have on your radar. And in terms of market leaders, in terms of the RWA hype, you can see since March of this year, all of that traction that the RWA space saw was coming from this liquidity driving up the price of Ondo. March 18th, look at Ondo's price movement going from 44 cents, which was $4 billion, to $10 billion in a matter of 2 weeks. And you can match that to my YouTube views. Exactly around this date on March 19th, March 20th, you see the hype wave for RWA started. When my YouTube views started to go exponential, mentioning RWA was when the price of Ondo started to increase exponentially. Now, the people behind Ondo is actually pretty crazy. They have an official partnership with BlackRock, the world's number 1 largest asset manager. BlackRock has launched a on-chain fund using the Ethereum blockchain in partnership with Ondo Finance. So Ondo is by far the most widely adopted institutional grade DeFi product for RWAs. And that's why Ondo is in my portfolio today. This kind of liquidity push and institutional adoption is second to none. You have no one else in the entire crypto space that has this level of connections and this level of traditional finance adoption. And you know who is actually pushing the RWA narrative is the TradFi, is BlackRock. You know how Larry Fink has been going on TV and continue to push the use case of Ethereum being tokenized assets. Well, that is being heavily reflected on the liquidity driving up Ondo. And that's why even though the market cap to fully diluted valuation ratio is honestly quite poor at only 14%, I still have it in my portfolio today. I am not going to fade this level of institutional adoption on a crypto RWA product. And that's my stance on it. Now, if you want to bet on more fairly distributed tokens in the RWA sector, there are also other choices on the other side of the spectrum. For example, Mantra, I have 2% of my portfolio in this altcoin. Now, looking at this altcoin, it also had a similar huge level of hype since the beginning of the year. Look at this run up. Since December 2023, Mantra was trading at 2.5 cents. At its peak, Mantra traded at $1.40. This coin actually did a 60x growth over the past 9 months. How crazy is that? Coming from a RWA coin. In fact, I think this coin even outperformed majority of the strongest meme coins that had a major run since December. Pretty crazy if you consider that this is an RWA coin that it managed to do this. RWA is definitely not a niche sector anymore. You cannot say that with this kind of coin price trajectory. Now, just with this price trajectory alone is worthy of attention. But also when you look at the market market cap versus fully diluted valuation, you look at this, 95% of all of the fully diluted market cap is circulating. This is, again, very crazy and very fair token supply already circulating in the market. And that gives me a lot of confidence as well in the price of Mantra on this next phase of the bull market. In terms of price levels, as long as Mantra can hold up above this previous range that we formed in terms of support, so the key support here over the past year, over the past 6 months or so, is right around 60 to 65 cents. So as long as we can hold above there, I do think new highs will be coming. And RWA, when it gets popular again, Ondo and Mantra, these two are clearly the two largest runners in this sector. The next RWA altcoin on my portfolio, you might not have heard of, but this is definitely one to pay attention to, and that is Orion Protocol. And yes, this is the same Orion Protocol that launched back in 2020 as a DeFi project. Orion used to be a DeFi to CeFi liquidity aggregator that combines centralized and decentralized exchange trading. A lot of people don't know that the Orion Protocol is going through a migration right now to be a new platform called Lumia, which is still doing CeFi and DeFi liquidity aggregation, but this time specifically serving the RWA market. And with this migration, they're also changing their token ticker from the Orion ORN to the Lumia token. Now, the Orion token is trading on Binance, and Binance will be supporting this token swap sometime in the next quarter. When this happens, this will drive up a next phase of hype, as this will be a newly launched token on Binance, even though it's a previous swap from a previous project. We have seen similar playbooks come out before with things like the Mirror Circle token, which was swapped to the Beam token and started the next phase of run-up. We also saw, for example, the Terra Virtual project that have swapped to the Vayner chain, and this has led to this major run-up that they had in February to March of this year. So all in all, whenever Binance supports a token swap and token migration like this that starts a new chart, this is something that you want to pay attention to. Again, on the RWA sector that I have in my portfolio, Orion is at a lower market cap than the other altcoin picks. However, it is listed on Binance, so I do think the risks are not that high on this coin. It is just a lower market cap, so the volatility will be a bit higher. So pay attention before you ape in blindly. And last but not least, the last altcoin that I have in the RWA sector is Pendle. And for old followers on the channel, you guys will know that I have held Pendle in my portfolio over 2023 and the beginning of 2024. However, the reason why I held Pendle is not because of the RWA space in the beginning. Instead, Pendle is a platform that allows you to split the yield-bearing portions of an asset with the principal-bearing portions of an asset. Essentially, it's a DeFi platform, and their earliest promises were actually for this platform to be applied to liquid staking and liquid staking derivatives, so LSD platform. However, over the past 6 months, Pendle has shifted their branding and the message that they're putting out and their integrations to move away from the LSD and LRT space into the RWA space. They have stopped integrating most of the liquid staking products and instead started to integrate a lot more RWA DeFi products. Again, this goes to show the level of interest people have in the RWA space, because since they started to do that, look at what happened. In March of this year, Pendle started to also catch on the major wave, exactly matching the rally that we saw on Ondo and on Mantra. And during this period, no other DeFi coin or LRT or LSD coin were able to sustain this level of hype. This tells me that this pivot was really working for the case of Pendle, and now they are closely putting themselves in the category of RWA instead of LSD. So going to the next phase of the bull market, Pendle really should be treated as a RWA project, and they clearly understand this as they were able to catch on to that narrative in the first phase. So treating Pendle as a RWA project now, this is much more promising, because look at a few things. First of all, this coin has been trading since 2021, which means it has very good market cap to fully diluted valuation ratio with 60% of all tokens circulating. And look at the bear market lows. The lows that it made in 2023 were at 4 cents, but today it's already trading at $2.90. Huge run up, and a lot of people were captured by this huge run up that Pendle has had since early 2023. And even since last October, Pendle's bottom was at 60 cents, and today it trades at nearly $3. So it held up around 4.5 to 5x of the gains since October. Again, very respectable numbers. And lastly, Pendle is listed on all major exchanges exchanges, including Binance. So the liquidity also checks out. This gives me a lot of confidence to put Pendle in my portfolio because it has good supply distribution ratio, it has a long running history, it's listed on all major exchanges, and they understand the narrative and are able to put themselves in the strong narrative in DeFi right now, and that is RWA. And that's why Pendle is the last altcoin that I have in my portfolio in the RWA sector, coming in at 2%. Okay, so there you have it. These are the 24 different cryptos that I have in my portfolio today. As you can see, I have significantly trimmed down the number of coins that I hold in my portfolio, and I have cut out some of the useless, non-performing sectors in crypto and replaced them with conviction bets, with putting more emphasis on the narratives that are actually outperforming the market and kept up the profits that they have made since October 2023. Really quick, here are some statistics in terms of portfolio sector breakdowns. I have 20% in Bitcoin, 20% in Ethereum, 20% in Solana. This is the basis of my portfolio. And then for the 5 sectors that I am exposed to in terms of altcoins, I have 6% in layer 1s. This is the smallest sector, although you can also consider things like Near Protocol and things like IMX as alternative layer 1s. So technically I do have more exposure to layer 1s, but they're just more specialized layer 1s for AI and for gaming. And speaking of AI and gaming, I have 10% of my portfolio in AI. This is the biggest sector in my portfolio today outside of the main 3. And then I have 8% in gaming, 8% in meme coins, and 8% in RWAs. It is a pretty even split between these 5 altcoin sectors. I have about 8% in each, totaling at 40% total. Going into this next bull market in 2024, I really want to limit myself to these 5 crypto sectors. I have dabbled in many different narratives over the past year on the channel. For better or for worse, I have discovered some things that work really well, such as the Solana ecosystem, the Base ecosystem, and even RWAs. We got into RWA very early, and we discovered some of the undervalued AI coins very early, such as Near Protocol and Arweave, when they made their pivots. However, I have also done things that really didn't pan out that well in more niche sectors, such as ZK layer 2s, Bitcoin, DeFi, restaking, LSD and RT protocols, and meme coins that are in much more niche blockchains that nobody really cares about and are not gaining traction. So for all of these different narratives, I will start to treat them with a lot bigger grains of salt over the next year. And I don't want to completely avoid and write off any different sector that I will add into my portfolio in 2025. But what I do know is that these 5 sectors will be the bread and butter of my portfolio strategy going into next year. And what more do you need? Ultimately, what is the goal of a portfolio? You just want to have the most balanced growth portfolio in terms of having constant growth whenever the market rallies and having decently controlled downside exposure when the market drops. And that's what having Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana accomplishes. And then on top of that, you just need to be exposed to the most performing sectors, the strongest sectors, the sectors that everyone knows. And since I already have 5, what more do I need? I really don't want to fall prey to the bias and to the mistake of treating too many different sectors as legit and putting them in my portfolio for the sake of covering them. Because I'm a content creator, I always get exposure to these different narratives and I always like to look into them. But for this next year, I really want to be diligent in what I put into my portfolio. So I might cover certain sectors, but if I don't include them in my portfolio, I will clearly state so in this next year. And I'll try to put this portfolio as a dashboard with a public tracking that we can all come back to and see how this portfolio is doing. Our viewers get a lot of value in this portfolio series. I know that, and they reflect in the views as well. And I always get requests for portfolio updates all the time. Just know that portfolios are not meant to be for trading. Instead, they're meant to be for investments and for holding. So for that sake, I plan to make shorter portfolio update videos, potentially as live streams over the next year. Maybe we'll do it as a quarterly basis, a monthly basis, we'll see. And I'll try to create a dashboard that I can leave in the link in the description so everyone can go check out if you want to follow how this portfolio is doing from my entry points, and if I am removing any altcoins in this portfolio and adding in any others. Overall, I am very happy with how this portfolio turned out. I think this is now finally a very concentrated bet on the things that I have seen to be playing out well over the past year. And that's why I have strong confidence in these sectors actually continuing to matter and lead the market over the next year. I'm finally able to cut out the noise, and I hope this is able to help the rest of our audience navigate the markets as well. Okay, that's it for this video. 2 things to follow me on before I go. Number 1, make sure to follow me on Twitter at Virtualbacon0x. I drop day-to-day alpha before I make them into these in-depth videos, and you can find me on threads covering portfolio updates and new altcoins. And for all of my portfolio entries on this list, I will be covering them constantly whenever they have major updates, upswings, downswings, if I'm entering or exiting any of them, or if they have significant growth, I will make sure to cover them on my Twitter. That's where you can get the quickest updates. And number 2, make sure to join our community on virtualbacon.com. We have a VIP program with a full-on trading community that is an extension from what we used to have on Discord. It is a free trading community that you should join and take part in. So we have more than 3,000 VIP members signed up already. In there, we have mentors, we have daily updates, trade signals from myself and our other analysts. And if you're looking for a community to share knowledge and to share ideas and to cross-check your work whenever you're looking into new projects, this is the place to be. So stay tuned for that, and that will be launching with a link in my bio and on virtualbacon.com. Okay, that's it for this video. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.